Testing 1, 2.
Hey boys, how you doing?
Hey.
Sorry, I'm running a little. Well, we're actually live right now. Sorry, I'm a little late. I'm renting an apartment for the wife and I, for when she finally makes it up this way. So, but we made
All
it.
right. Are you in your new apartment?
What's that?
Are you in your new apartment?
No, I haven't been approved yet. I'm quite a notorious character, so it's going to be dicey.
Oh yeah, you're a felon.
Yeah, well, I haven't been a lifetime criminal like you in Facebook jail every week, but I'm working. I'm trying to emulate you.
I stayed out of Facebook jail this week. That's pretty good.
What are you, a slacker now?
I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Hey, Greg, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you. You hear me?
Awesome,
Yeah,
man.
you're looking good, man. You're looking good.
Gang's all here.
Doing all right, man.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Oh, it's hot everywhere, man. It's like 100 here. Yeah, and the dew point and the humidity's real high.
Oh.
Yeah, good day for the swimming pool.
We got an AC.
You got a swimming pool?
No, I don't have one, but they got one up in town. Yeah, it's like a water park. Yeah, you go for, pay like $5 or $6. They got a bunch of water slides, stuff like that. I just like swimming. I was in the Navy 10 years, man. I love the water.
You're so tall that you could go right up to the top of the slide and your feet will still be touching the bottom.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. I can't say it in the ocean, though.
Well, it's pretty humid in BC because we're right on the coast. So, 90 here is super humid.
Yeah, it's pretty hot for Canada.
Yeah, I wonder what the temperature is. It's got to be in the 90s. I still go with it. We got like that stupid Celsius thing up here, but I don't know what that means. I can't figure it out.
I hate that Celsius.
I like feet and yards and 90 degrees, like 32 Celsius. That's bullshit to me. You got to do a bunch of arithmetic to figure out what the temperature is.
Yeah, same thing with the heat index. Well, it's 98.
Jenny Jablonski says hello to everybody. Hi, Jenny.
Hey, Jenny, how you doing? I can't believe I made it on time. That lady was really chatting me up there in the for the apartment.
Well, you're just a handsome man.
Well, I'm not the world's handsomest man. And by the way, I guess I'll introduce the show. Hey, everybody, my name is Port Cunningham, and I'm here with my distinguished, honorable co-host, the world's handsomest man, Frank Oliver Baines, the guru of love. And this is the Pork and Bean Show. And you're the guru of love. You got your love thing going on there.
We're going to talk about Sasquatch today. No fooling around with this ESP UFO stuff. It's going to be real Sasquatch stuff with the Squatch man himself, Greg Yost.
None of this crap we've been feeding you on all the
I know. Our ratings have been falling down, man. We got to get back to the real deal.
And anyway, so we are joined today by Greg Yost, and the reason we had him back so soon is because we like him, and the other reason is because we lost connection halfway through the last show. So how you doing, Greg?
Hey, Brian. Hey, thanks for having me on. How are you and Michael doing today?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, great, man.
I thought it was going to be at 1 o'clock, and then so.
Well, it's actually it was at 1 o'clock. We were on at 1 o'clock.
Your side, my side is 4 o'clock.
No, well, I had to change it because Greg had some kind of appointment today that he had to go to. What? You got your ear trim?
Yeah, I had to go to a job, like orientation thing. I got this job. So I'm gonna work it, man. See how it goes. I I need a little extra money. So yeah, best way to make money, man, is get a job. Right?
Yeah,
I'm on Social Security, but I can still make like almost 20,000 extra on top of what they give you. So I guess you call that double dipping. So yeah, I'm gonna double dip until I got to reach my limit.
You know, it's I tell you what, it's hard unless your house and the land, everything paid for. It's hard to live on Social Security. I'm on Social Security, and you know, it's
Yeah, it is.
I
But,
can't have a
but
car.
then again, I want to be like some people I've seen through my life. I've been working all my life, and some people will work up into their 70s, 75. I mean, just in there dragging. I mean, you can see they're just physically broke down, but they will not retire. I don't know. And I always tell myself, I mean, well, what's the sense of life? I mean, you're going to work all your life and then retire, and then, well, what's left of your body and mind to enjoy the rest of your years? I just seen on the news this morning, the average lifespan for a male is 75 years old. So I mean, a normal retirement is like, for me, it's 66.8 months. You might as well say 67. Yeah, and I'll be 63 in November. As soon as I turn 62, man, I said, hey, I may not be the richest man in the world, but I'm still pretty healthy. I got a great point of view and outlook on life. And well, what number of years I have got left on the slate, I'm not going to spend the rest of them in a factory or whatever. They just getting them a nice paycheck every week. I mean, money ain't everything. I mean, it's nice to have money. I mean, you need money to live on. Yeah, especially inflation keeps going up and up. So that's one of the reasons I'm going back to work, because this inflation is killing a man on a set income. I get a certain amount a month, and I got a grass cutting gig. I cut like 5 or 6 yards, but it really ain't much at the end of the day. So yeah, actually, I'm looking forward to going back to work. And once I get up to my limit, I'll have to sit out to the following year. Then I can do it again. And then when I turn 65, I'll be getting more union pensions from other jobs I've had. You just don't get them until you turn 65.
Yeah.
And plus, I heard they're raising Social Security in January, almost like a $200 raise. So yeah, in the long run, it's looking pretty good, but right now it ain't. So yeah, but it's going to be third shift, so I'll still be able to come on the Pork and Bean Show whenever y'all need me to.
Well, I tried to get Social Security, but I'm neither social and I'm not really secure.
You're a security risk.
I'm a security risk and I'm not social, so they denied me. Yeah. So what kind of work you going to be doing, Greg?
He's a welder.
Well, I'm a welder, but that's not what I'm getting back into. I got a job at this. It's an automotive plant, and they make the insulation padding and the carpet that goes on the floorboards. And they got a big contract with Ford and a couple other car manufacturers. And all you do is like stick a big piece of that stuff on a machine, push a button, it goes in there, it cuts it, it molds it. They already got everything all set up. And then it goes out the other side, and another person takes it off and stacks it. And it comes back on this side. You put another piece, about 30 seconds later. So you got two of these things a minute, which really ain't that bad. And I mean, a pretty good automotive and industry wage. It's hard to pass up.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if you guys noticed, but every company in the world's hiring. It's just so it's easy to get a job, but to find one you like, that's the hard thing. And I really didn't want to go back to work, so I figured if I'm going to go back to work, I might as well do something fairly easy and fairly good paying. So I got both out of this job. So yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah. I was thinking I might drive one of those ice cream trucks around town.
That'd be a good job.
The music playing, you know.
My dream job would be moving out to Montana or Washington. With one of the the states that have illegal cannabis and get in the cannabis industry. I mean, that's a very high paying job, and that's something I really enjoy. You know what I mean? So that'd be a dream job. I mean,
Yeah, but
even working at a dispensary would be a good job.
Yeah, but you'd be smoking all the profits probably.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, then they fire me.
Yeah.
No, but I could direct the customers in the right direction.
Yeah.
You don't want that. Yeah, get this stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's legal in the whole country up there in Canada, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and seeing down here, there's only like 23 states that are legal.
The only thing that isn't legal up here is free speech.
Yeah, so it's more like
they're outlawing that.
That's more like Amsterdam then.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, so before we get into some Sasquatch stuff or whatever, what do you? I want to know if you could recommend something for Mr. Beans, because he's ending up in jail, like all Facebook jail all the time. You have any suggestions for him? He's like a career criminal, this guy.
I'm a criminal on Facebook. You can't say shit on Facebook.
I know Facebook is really going downhill.
Yeah, I'm just going to grab my hearing aids.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. No matter how you hook up, man, it's hard to hear.
Oh no, I can hear you, but may as well.
Yeah, Faisy, Brian, we're getting too old.
Yeah, I'm older than both you guys.
Well, how old are you,
Mr. Beans?
Huh?
How old are you now?
I'm 72.
Well, you only got 3 more. You only got 3 more years to live if you go by the average.
I know. You can't go by that. I'm going to live to be over 100. That's for sure.
That's the average. I mean, some people live up through their 90s, and then some guys croak when they're in their 50s. So that's an average. So I mean, it ain't like, well, you're 75 now, you're gonna croak. Yeah,
No, I mean, I hope he doesn't croak. I can't do the show without him. Well, maybe.
I wouldn't have thought he was 72 years old. I thought he was around my age.
Well, if he does croak on the average, I'll get you as my my co-host there, Greg.
Hey, right on.
I've been retired since 2009 when the economy tanked. You know, remember the housing bubble tanked, and then all of a sudden all the carpenter work and painters and everything just like quit. So I was living on $20,000 a year savings for 2 or 3 years, and then I got old enough. Then I applied for Social Security. Lost my house because of that shit. And it wasn't that much house. You know, it was just like it was a duplex kind of a thing.
Why did you lose your house? Because you're not allowed to own a house?
Because there was no work. There was no money coming in.
Oh, I got you.
So, you know, after spending $20,000 a year for a couple of years, I used up all my savings, and then I couldn't pay a mortgage anymore.
Oh, well, you don't seem like you're any worse for wear.
No. Just part of life.
Yeah.
When you get in your 60s and 70s, you start losing things, friends and jobs, and you can't keep the car or the boat and everything, so you're gonna lose them.
Yeah. Well, we should just talk about personal stuff the whole show and piss everybody off. Yeah.
There sure is a lot happening in the world where we can sure talk about it.
Oh man, ain't they? I tell you what, you're not supposed to say stuff about the jab, but on the overall big picture, there's a genocide hiding in plain sight, from things we can't mention.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't watch the news, which is probably why I'm not brainwashed. But as soon as you get on Facebook and you get the news feed or whatever, there's too many like 25 and 30-year-old, and like all these young people are just like dropping dead like flies. And it's not. I never used to notice that. There's something stinks in Denmark. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and the suicide rate from 2019 to 2022 tripled. I mean, it's all those young kids, people, they just can't make it anymore. If they lose their job, they can't put food on the table, man. That's rough. They can't figure out a way out. Inflation going up. They can't even afford gas to look for a job. So people getting discouraged out there.
Yeah, that's why there's a lot of gun violence, a lot of crime going on, a lot of killings.
Well,
it's getting horrible.
I don't want to be unpopular, and I know I'll probably get reamed for saying this, but I don't think the government minds all this violence because it gives them an excuse to try to take your guns away.
Yeah, they're up to something.
Oh yeah, there definitely are. I mean, so. And I'm not.
I think we're winning though. I think we're winning because now, since we had the internet, there's more people who are studying what it means to be a sovereign human being, and the skullduggery that's been going on, and lies, and like the IRS is like the illegal kind of BS, and how banks just make money out of thin air. People are learning all this stuff, and eventually that's going to get kicked in.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. But people got to grow a set, and stand for what they believe in instead of just like people got to realize they have power.
A lot of people love their country. Look at the Canadians when they were all the Canadians on the bus, man. And the truckers and everything. They love their country, man. They don't want to see it turn to shit. Americans love their country too, so they just keep holding off and But it's gonna get, if it gets bad, when people can't eat. And people start dying in the streets. We already got more homeless now than I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah.
People sleeping rough.
Well, the problem is the media doesn't report on these things. I mean, they've got worldwide protests going on right now. With farmers and stuff, like on a big scale, and it's just like. They don't even report on it. It's just like it's a non-event. So, but yeah, I mean, if you want to get real news, you can't be turning on the 6 o'clock news or whatever. You gotta look at some alternative news sources.
Yeah, and there's like I said, that whole the amount of people who have what they call adverse reactions to the COVID pandemic. That's just, they're not reporting that. They're not admitting that. Nobody's even looking at that. But that's just crazy stuff there, man. Here's what I thought. You think this is 2022. And at this time, I think in the 30s and 40s, in 1920s, 30s and 40s, they were starting these world wars that are going to try to figure out some way to kill like 10 or 20 million people. And so I think they're trying to outdo themselves. So this millennium, they're gonna see if they can double that number or something. I don't know why they're hell bent on killing humans. I don't know. I don't understand that, but it seems like that's what people want to do. They say they want to do that. That's what this new world order. The Georgia Guidestones, man. They said it was right there in stone. So I don't know, but I'm kind of glad we got Sasquatch around because you can always be looking after them, and you can go out. And the thing is, in nature, none of that stuff is real. None of the stuff that we think about or worry about is real. You just pretty much is the ground under your foot and the trees. That's what you got there.
Well, let's get into some Sasquatch stuff. But first of all, we got a comment by Philip Polk Palmer, who's a friend of the show. And he says, I have been unfriended by several of our mutual friends because they don't like seeing my comments about what is going on in the world. The same people like to cite their Native American roots and try to act like it's all about peace. I am all for peace, but any Native American would also tell you there is a time to fight and the time is right now. And that includes being very vocal about what is going on. Yeah, he's right. Keeping mum on things is exactly, and compliance is exactly what these lunatics want. So, absolutely. So, Greg,
Yeah.
tell us some of your favorite Sasquatch encounters, because we covered a lot of stuff last time, and I can't even remember what we talked about. But let's get into some Sasquatch stuff.
Yeah. I got quite a few stories. And like I was saying, the last time I was on, usually when something happens, I got people with me, which makes it that much more better. As far as you know how people are. A lot of people don't believe a lot of stuff, and but I can't blame them. I mean, right off the bat, most people don't believe in Bigfoot. I mean, they laugh at you, laugh at the subject. Bigfoot's not real. So anytime anybody produces evidence, it's going to be scrutinized. People are going to say this, they're going to say that. It's this, it's that. It's not a Bigfoot. Bigfoots ain't real. So I mean, yeah, you're fighting a losing battle. Trying to prove their existence. I mean, that's not why I'm into it. I'm into it, for my own personal journey.
Yeah.
And what I get out of it, and I get a lot out of it, and it's more than just going out there, walking through the woods, trying to see one walking, whatever. Like a lot of people do. That's not what I do. I got a personal relationship with them. A lot of people probably wouldn't understand. I know you two do.
Yeah.
But it's hard to describe to people that have never experienced stuff that I have. And in one of my encounters.
Let me say one thing. Let me just say one thing, Greg, before you get into
Go
ahead. Like people don't understand that we have a personal connection with them, because 95% of the people in the Sasquatch world are just like flesh and blood monsters or whatever, and they don't even think that they're human, and they don't even think they possess the degree of intelligence or the gifts that they have. So so it's a stretch for them to think that you can actually have a personal relationship with something that they don't respect, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I mean, that's where it all begins with respect. If you go out there, looking for something that you don't even believe in, that's for all the wrong reasons. You know, when I tell everybody, you know, they want to go looking for Bigfoot, that ain't how it works. You know, go out into the forest by yourself. You know, not just one time, but yeah, 3 or 4 times a month, if not more. You know, walk down the same creek, walk a couple miles, go in the deep forest. You know, don't walk on the trails or nothing like that. The people that can't navigate through the forest or whatever are using a compass or you know whatever methods they use, marking trees or whatever, you know, with ribbons. You know, there's a lot of ways not to get lost, but a lot of people get lost. I mean, I've got lost before, so I like walking down creeks, and that way you ain't gonna get lost. You can walk and walk all day long on the same creek, and when you're tired of walking, you turn around and go back. And, you know, it's 100% safe from getting lost. I mean, I don't do it all the time, but when I, you know, I did a lot of walking like that, and you'd be surprised, you know, what you hear, stuff you see. You start seeing footprints in the creek bed. Yeah, that's a favorite place for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts opening up a whole new door for you. You're like, yeah, well, they're out here, and unbeknown to the person that they have no idea that the forest people have been checking them out every time they go out. They're being watched. They're being evaluated. They're being deemed if they're worthy for an interaction with the people of the forest. Are they going to choose you to open up and really see, let you see things? Let them see you. Let them see their families. Let them see stuff like pushing trees over right in front of you. If you get really tight with them and ask them to do stuff, chances are, as of me, they would do it. And yeah, one thing leads to another. You know, you're not going to find stuff out strolling on Facebook, looking on the internet, watching Bigfoot shows on TV. Yeah, I mean, everybody watches them. I mean, they're entertaining, but I don't agree with a lot of stuff that the people on them shows say or do. And yeah, it's always the same thing. You know, they try to protect herself from going all out saying that it's a Bigfoot or whatever. They're like, well, if it was a large bipedal hominid, it would be possible to strive in his habitat, you know, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Be always beating around the bush, where people like me and you and Michael, and a lot of other people I know, you know, we tell it like it is. I mean, I know more than if they are. I'll tell you, hey, they are real. Yeah, they do live here. I mean, they probably live in every wooded area in North America and parts all over the world. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, even down in the deep forests down in southern South America. Yeah. I mean, the rainforest. You know how dense some jungles are down there. I mean, people don't even go into them jungles. I mean, they're everywhere, and for people to not to get a grip on that and acknowledge that, all these eyewitnesses all over the country, almost every state. I mean, there's a couple states you don't hear much about, like Arizona or New Mexico. You know, desert states, Las Vegas or Nevada. You know, states like that probably ain't gonna get a lot of action because, like you always talk about, like what's behind you, Brian. It's all about trees. If you don't have a dense population of trees, you're not going to have the forest people. I mean, that goes hand in hand with what they are and who they are. It's all about the trees. And you all being up there, you probably know that they prefer pine trees. They love pine cones. I have found big gatherings of piles of pine cones. I mean, just something about pine cone I ain't figured out. And a real quick story. My son got his little girl a cartoon we watched all together. It was a cartoon about a Bigfoot family out in California, and they lived underground in this cave, and they had this Bigfoot hunter looking for them and everything. And but anyway, it's all about pine cones. It run their whole operation, their whole little city, and it was so cool. And then when I went out to Washington, when we started seeing big piles of pine cones, out in the middle of these forests. So there's something about the pine cones. But anyway, they got to have trees. They got to live in the forest. They got to have water. Stuff that these desert states don't have. Uh, they got to have a food source, and almost everywhere with a forest, you have food source. All the forest animals, big populations of deer everywhere. If that's the food of choice for them, they got a smorgasbord in the forest. But if you start going like to the Badlands and places like that, well, what are they going to do? Walk around in the desert? There's nothing there for them. There's no food. There's nothing to hide. So yeah, it's all about the trees, man. And wherever there's a patch of trees, I would even say 5 acres, chances are you could go into that. I'm talking about in a city park, you could probably find evidence of Sasquatch being in there.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
A lot of people wouldn't believe that. They think they're out in the middle of nowhere, places man can't get to. But that's the biggest forest that there is. I mean, I go up to my camp, and I got them coming up to my camp, all around my camp. I glow. Hear them walking around. Every now and then you hear vocals. Every now and then they'll push a tree down. They'll do tree knocks. Everything that the forest people do, other than come out and join us, what we want them to do. They haven't done that yet, but they're getting real close. I mean, they're right on the edge of the forest, right where the camp is. So, I mean, that's how close they are, standing right there. The last camp out I had a month ago, there's 2 limbs over by a tree. This is on my Facebook post I did. And 2 of the limbs on this little tree, it wasn't a big tree, but they were bowed over, not broken, but you can see the stress on them. And it wasn't there the day before on Friday when we got there. Someone was standing right there watching us around the campfire do what we do. And then big limbs with all the leaves are in his way. So he bent them down so he could stand there and watch us. So I mean, we stay up 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. That's the time that they feel comfortable being around us. They don't want us seeing them. I call them the night people. I mean, you will have daytime encounters from time to time. Very chancy, very lucky if people do. I have. I've had a few.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you want to really get though up close and personal with them, nighttime is when they go out, and you don't got to go walking in the woods. You don't got to have a big expedition and all that. Yeah, go up to a place in the woods, a pull off. Yeah, you get your chairs out, have a seat. Listen to the forest, soak in the forest, all the noises. The forest people, if they like you, you got a good heart, you got good intentions. You don't have all these cameras and everything trying to get that $1 million money shot. You got a very good chance that the people are gonna show you what you seek, and the more you build that relationship with them, the more you're gonna get. I mean, I started off gifting them. I still gift them. I look at it as an even trade-off. I even tell them, I said, hey, look, I give you all nice treats back here on the gifting stuff. I expect something nice in return tonight for me and my friends here. Yeah, 9 out of 10 times, and we're going to get something nice. Not just once. I'm talking all night. I mean, sometimes you got eye glow out there, and it looks like Christmas out there in the forest. So many different color lights. Yeah, on the last show we did, yeah, I was telling you about the eye glow, so I won't get back into that again. But that's something they do, and that's something you see at night. And me and 4 other people were up here. It wasn't even 6 months ago. It was back in I want to say April. We seen one. His eyes are so bright, man. It looked like a spotlight going off over there, and it was lighting up all around him. And you can see like a group of them with the intensity. And my friend Parker Duvall, I'm sure you heard of him, very good friend of mine. He said that Arla told him the ones that do that are the real old elders, that have super energy power they use like that can do that. So that was something very educational I learned that night, because I hadn't seen that before, but I didn't know. Yeah, I knew it had to be a forest person, but I didn't know it was an elder. So that was pretty cool learning that. And one night I asked them to do something, and we go back to the gifting stuff. And everybody's up there always comes with me. I don't allow no equipment whatsoever. I don't allow any kind of lights. I mean, people's got eyes. If you're out in the woods in the dark long enough, you're gonna get adjusted to the darkness. You're gonna be able to see shadows. You're gonna be able to see things in the woods, and you don't need lights. I don't care if they're red lights, green lights, and especially not white lights. So we go back there, and I talked to them, and I asked them this one night. Hey, I got some nice treats here for you. Some bananas, apples, donuts, granola bars, yeah, a whole smorgasbord. I go, could you do something for us? And immediately, everybody behind me, including me, heard a no. So I'm like, okay, y'all, let's go back. You heard him. He said no. So we turned around and went back to the campfire. So I mean, how cool is that, where you can actually communicate with them and get a response?
Yeah.
My son asked, just me and him, we camped out in the middle of the woods. We built a teepee just like they built. And this is a story that I will get into, a Squatch encounter story that Brian wanted to hear. So here's a good one. This is back in the early days where I didn't know. Basically, all I knew is Sasquatch was real, and he lived in the woods. So as a thinking man, I consider myself pretty intelligent, pretty heady in the forest. You hear people being street smart. Well, I think I'm wood smart. Yeah, I know everything in the woods. I know what kind of sounds they make, what kind of tracks they leave. So I'm like, hey, well, I'll just go out in the woods all the time. Because after, I told you about the one in Ferdinand that got me into it, I go, that's where I'm going to see another one. So if I'm going to do this, find out, the truth about this, I need to go out to the woods. So that's why I went out a lot. So I told Eugene, And this was part of his ideal. You know, that son of Squatch man, that's my right hand man I was telling you about. He goes, well, Dad, you know, let's build a teepee just like they do. We'll sleep in the teepee for 3 days or 3 nights and 4 days over the 4th of July holidays. This was probably back in 2016. It wasn't that long ago. Yeah, I'm horrible with dates. And so I mean, we worked their rear ends off building this teepee. Yeah, you hear people saying, "Yeah, man, probably did." I don't think a man's gonna go all that trouble to build a teepee and fake somebody out that a Bigfoot built it. Yeah, we built it to sleep in, and that's what we did. And it was a job, and it took a lot of hot sweat and work to do it, but we did it. And yeah, it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and 4th of July was Monday, so we had a good run through there. So the first night, man, you know, and we were bare minimalist. Yeah, you know, we brought only enough to just barely survive, just enough water, just enough beans, you know, cowboy food, you know, nothing exotic, you know, no meats, you know, hot dogs, you know, none of that camping food, you know, old time, you know, just food that's going to give you protein and energy, you know, over the 3 or 4 days we were there. So and Eugene brought his guitar, man. He's a very good guitar player, and he was playing the guitar Friday night. So everything nice and quiet, nothing happened, man. We went to bed, woke up, spent all day, and if anything out there, I bonded with my boy. It's just hanging out with him, just me and him in the middle of the forest in my hot spot that I have seen these creatures right in this area. I mean, I called it ground zero right there. So if something's going to happen, it's going to happen right there. So Saturday night, man, we went by and we even did a Facebook Live, showed everybody the TP. You know, I had a deer skull I put on the front of it. You know, we had a nice opening there. Put plastic on the bottom, put her sleeping bags on top of the plastic. You know, no air mattresses. So it started getting interesting since it got dark. And Art flew across the woods and went into a tree right by us. Yeah, we didn't even bring no chairs, nothing. We sat on a log that was there. We put rocks out, built a little campfire. It was awesome. And the orb went into the tree. Moments later, we heard like a thump right there at that tree. He's like, "What the heck? That come out of that tree, Dad?" And like, "I heard it, son." So time went on, and I seen something blue up around a tree dancing, something little. And he's like, well, I go, "What's that, man?" I go, well, "What could that be?" He goes, "Well, that's probably them fairies. Samantha Ellen Ritchie was trying to tell us about that around here. You know, so Sam, bless her heart, was really good at picking up stuff out there. Little people, fairies. You wouldn't believe what's out there." Another eye-opening thing. So Eugene said, "Hey, that's probably a fairy, Dad." And it looked like it went into the tree. And Sam told us that's where they live, in the trees. So I mean, who knows, dude? I'm just telling you what I seen that night. So anyway, yeah, Eugene asked a very personal question about the times that we're going through right now. But this was back then when he asked this question. And we're sitting here, man, total darkness, just a little fire. They didn't have no lights on, never, like I told you, don't use them. And there was a nice full moon this night. It was beautiful. So Eugene asked a question. And he goes, "This is directed to the forest elder." Then he said his question. And I'll tell you when the time is right what he asked. But immediately after he asked the question, the response was, and his eyes got this big, and he looked at me and, Dad, did you hear that? I go, I heard that, dude. I go, that was a He goes, yeah. I just want to make sure you heard that right after I asked my question. And I go, man, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. So it was going great that night. So about 2:30, quarter till 3, we went into teepee and started to bed down. And looking in, I'm on the right hand side, or I'm on the left hand side, and I couldn't get comfortable, man. And his root kept sticking in my. I don't know what was going on. So I rolled around. Finally, Eugene said, "What's the matter, Dad?" I said, "I just can't get comfortable, man. His root over is killing me." So he goes, "Well, here, I'll trade you places. There ain't no roots over here." So like a loving son, he took care of the old man. So we switched places, and we lay back down, and like I said, there was a full moon, and it was directly overhead. And I was just about to sleep. I thought Eugene was asleep. So all of a sudden, I started hearing, it sounded like thunder in the distance. But it started getting closer, and then I realized that thunder was stopping. Something big, something heavy was coming right our way. So I had a spotlight and I had a Bowie knife. That's the only two pieces of equipment that I carry. And the spotlight, as far as when things get too hairy, uh, hit that white light. They'll take off running, man. They hate white light, and I call it a deterrent. I don't carry a gun, nothing like that. And a knife isn't for that. It's more of other, means around the campfire, opening cans, whatever. But it's nice to have for protection. I mean, you don't know what is out in the woods. Wolves, coyotes, whatever. If an animal's hungry enough, your meat, hey, he might try to eat you, man. I mean, they're wild animals. You can't predict what they're going to do. So anyway, here comes this stomping, getting louder and louder. Now I knew exactly what it was. Man, here comes a Bigfoot walking right up on us. And, there was gaps in the logs, man, on the teepee. And I'm looking out the gap. And right where his leg, man, hit, right there on the other side of them logs there. And I can see his big ass leg and half his buttock. And it was just huge. I was thinking of football players' thighs, how big they are. And this thing was just huge, way bigger than that. So he took like one more step and it stopped, right out in front of the, I call it the hooch. So I was up on my elbows. I raised my head and I'm looking up through the opening. And there he is standing right there on the other side of the campfire, of 4.5 feet from her hooch. And I'm looking out the triangular door we had, opening. It didn't have a door on it. Looking right up on him, right up at him, and taking mine. There was a full moon, like a Hollywood show, a spotlight shining right down on him, and I could see everything from head to toe. And he was glistening, his fur, black, silky, real shiny, just glistening. And he had black puppy dog eyes. He didn't have them glowing or nothing, but the moon reflection, you could see they were black and no color whatsoever to them, just black eyes. And he's very massive, big, huge chest. Yeah, I call it a barrel chest, rippled stomach, arms, like I told Eugene, telephone poles. And he stood there, man. You know, I'm looking right at his eyeballs, and he's looking right down at me. I mean, right at me. And I felt this calming feeling, peaceful feeling come over me. So I'm like, well, maybe I should go out. Maybe he wants me to go out and talk to him. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm like, I couldn't move, man. I was like frozen. I don't know what was going on. I probably was in shock, another mild shock. It just freaks me out, man. Yeah, this is what I want. This is what I asked for. But it's still a lot to take in when it happens. So anyway, he turns around like this, and his right foot lifted up like he was going to walk away. And then he turned back one more time and looked at me again, just for a split second. And then he walked off, and there was a creek right there. And one step over the creek, we could hear him walking up the hill there. So I'm still sitting there, and so I snap out of it. I'm like, oh my God, my son. Yeah, that's one thing. I never want nothing to happen to my son. I got him into this. I couldn't live with myself if something happened bad to him. So I look over to him. Finally get regained composure. You know, he's laying flat with his head up, man. His eyes like that. You know, I'm like, hey, did you see that? And he goes, no, yeah. Yeah, he's pretty freaked out. Yeah, he's pretty freaked out over it. So he goes, is he still out there? I know, man. I think he walked. I go, no, I think he walked away, man. Come on, let's get. He goes, where are you going? I go, I'm putting more fires on the log. I mean, I'm putting more log on the fire. Yeah, as he came out. And I go, yeah, he walked through that creek right there. So I got to have my spotlight, man, with me now. So I walked over to the creek and shine my light down, see if he left a footprint. And he didn't leave a footprint, but there was a big, looked like a cougar track in the creek, real fresh. So I told Eugene, I'm like, dude, I'm like, he probably just walked up here and that's why he looked over there. He wanted me to look. He just run that cougar off. He's out here protecting us, man.
Yeah.
He's like, no. He's like,
cool.
are you kidding? Yeah, it was a mind-blowing experience. So anyway, you know, we sat around the fire, man, until about 5:30. The sun started getting light, and I said, hey, we didn't say nothing, man. Completely quiet, just looking, man, just looking in the fire, thinking of what happened. So we looked at each other. Like, well, did you have enough, dude? I'm ready to go. And he goes, so am I. So we put the fire out, grabbed her shit, and took off. And to this day, I mean, I call all my encounters the best because they all are to me.
Yeah.
I don't care how minor or how major. All of them's got a special meaning. So I can't rank them or nothing. But I mean, how can you rank something like this? I mean, they're right there in front of you, and no doubt about it. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts. And I heard him walking away, everything. I heard him walking to me, you know, the thumping, and he was very large. When I mean large, I told Eugene, because the way my head was looking up, man, it was cocked all the way back. So he had to be at least in the 10 to 12 foot range, 1,000+ pounds. I mean, just a big bad boy, man. And that was that one.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know what I like about that is there's a couple things. You said that you felt he was protecting you, and that's my experience too. They protect people that they care about. They will watch out for us. They will protect their people when they're in the woods. That's been my experience a number of times. I won't get into the stories, but I'm just agreeing with you. And the other thing is that energy that they gave you to calm you down is something also that is very, very common.
Yeah, it was almost like telling me, "Don't be scared."
Right.
You know how people say, "Relax, it's gonna be okay." Yeah, that's what he was telling me.
Yeah. Well, what happens?
And he was looking.
Yeah.
I mean, he was looking right through me. I could feel it. I could feel his energy, man. I mean, it was off the charts.
Yeah. What generally happens is that, like I've heard this many, many times, experienced it myself. You will have fear, or well, I can't really say I've ever been afraid out there, because I had a trust with them right away, because I had good teachers like Arla and whatever. So I realized that they weren't going to hurt me. But if you have fear, or somebody has fear, whatever, but they like you, they'll take that fear away. They'll calm you down with that energy you're talking about, and it's
Yeah, exactly.
it's quite pronounced, and it's quite amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you fear them and try to hurt them or shoot them, they're not gonna show you no love for that. I mean, you may not make it out alive if you pull that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah.
Like I tell people all the time. You all know David Pilates, the missing 411 guy.
Yeah.
Writes all these books and everything about all these people disappearing out in the forest. I think it's like 6,000 people a year disappear in national and state forests, and a lot of them vanished without a trace. And then he came out with a book, Hunted 411, strictly about nothing but hunters that go out. I mean, we're talking heavily armed hunters, sidearms, long rifles, knives, hatchets, whatever they carry. They got a lot of armor on them. More than some guy out there walking through the woods with a hiking stick. You know what I mean? But yet, he's got a whole book dedicated to all these hunters that went into the woods that morning but never came back out. And people like, well, never found a trace of them. Okay. Question number one. Well, what happened to him? Well, a very experienced hunter probably wouldn't be going out alone if he was a rookie. That's why you should always go out with somebody, even if you're hiking. If you go hunting, have a partner. Bad things usually don't happen to two people. It's always that one person. And all these incidents are one person. Hikers, one person, sometimes with their dog. But it's risky going out by yourself, man. That's a tip from the Squatch man. I don't even like doing it. But these hunters, they're heavily armed. So you gotta mark off a human aspect. Ain't no human gonna mess with a hunter with guns. Mass murder. A wild man in the forest out killing. Whatever you hear the stories. I'm sure they're out there somewhere. I ain't never seen none. But they're not gonna mess with somebody with a gun. That's lesson number one. Okay, so what could be happening to them? Well, I'll get right to the point. They have probably seen a Sasquatch and they fired a shot at him. Maybe they shot at a female Sasquatch, a juvenile Sasquatch. Maybe they done something so terrible and harmful to the forest people that, hey, they're going to be the judge, jury, and executioner. Hey, go get him. He's dead. He just shot my old lady. And they're going to get you and they're going to break you up and it's not going to be pretty and you're not ever going to come home again. So that's my take on what's happening to these hunters. That's the last thing you want to do is try to shoot one. That's another good tip. Like you just said, they're not going to bother you. Don't bother them. But they're very peaceful people, very friendly people, and very loving people if treated with love and respect. But if you go to the other side of the spectrum and go out there with hate and nothing on your mind but killing, caging, putting him in a zoo, chaining one up in a circus, or whatever your mean, devilish intentions are, they're going to mark you. But watch this one. We may have to eliminate this one. Keep an eye on them. That's how they work. So you do not want to get on the bad side of the horseman.
Yeah. Did they ever, in that book, did they ever find, they never found a trace of any of these hunters?
Well, as far as my knowledge, I ain't read the book or nothing. I'm just going by what I heard about it, and what the content of it is. But yeah, most of them that go out and never to be found again. A lot of trace. So, they like their they like they're going out there and getting lost. Yeah, I mean, they have organized search parties. They have the dogs out, helicopters. They use every resource possible to try to find these people. But if the force people do them in, and they're not going to find them, then they'll tell them where they're at.
I don't think so much as I don't think so much as the Sasquatch people, because you got to look out there. There's human trafficking. There's people who will snatch your body for your organs. There's sex trafficking, and there's child trafficking. There's a whole lot of stuff, really dark stuff going on. Hell, we pay taxes to pedophiles, so there's some really dark stuff going on out there, and so the chances of it being a Sasquatch is pretty low. You know what I mean? And but on the other hand, the Sasquatch people get killed at least. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't every month some hunter or somebody in a cabin shoots one and kills them. Their mortality rate from living in the woods is much higher than ours. I mean, if that would be like 12 of them a year or something, or if it was once a month that they got killed, and that's a lot for the Sasquatch people. But for us, we got, husband killing wives is like, is far more dangerous, So I don't know. Just the numbers don't add up. I don't like it when they cast a black shadow on the Sasquatch people. There's just as many stories of them helping people out, and carry them back to their car, or pointing away when they're lost and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, I think it would take a real extreme action for them to get like that, but because they're way more they got way more humanity in them, like our definition of humanity than we do. They're respectful, so they're not going to do that unless you really push them to the limit. I don't think, but
right.
But yeah, the most dangerous predator is man, of course, and
that's the guy you got to watch out for.
Sasquatch, and there was like rock and and 2 or 3 other psychics, and I was trying to find out about Sasquatch. Know of 6 agencies that are trained to kill and deal with the Sasquatch people, and a couple of these agencies are military trained, military operations, and they use the highest high tech kit that they got, so that they can send drones up. The Sasquatch said that they could kill every Sasquatch on a whole mountain in an afternoon. So that's going on too, and that's pretty much being covered up. The other agencies are like they have, state agencies and federal agencies for like when Sasquatch comes and grabs your goat or something, and they'll try to either run them out or they'll kill them. If it's a deranged or a bad Sasquatch. So that's going on, but you don't hear about that. So when the Black Ops military wants to do an exercise, they go out and find some place and then take out a whole mountain full of the Sasquatch, and then they capture them. The other thing is they capture the Sasquatch and they take them to underground shelters and do DNA works on them and try to get them to brainwash them and stuff like that. Try to get them to make a hybridize or something like that. There's just every kind of dark thing you can imagine. So they're on the receiving end of the brutality of humans much more than the other way around.
Oh yeah. Why do you think? What's your? I have my own opinions. What's your opinion? Why are they trying to kill them, Beans?
Well, it's they're the same as. There's a couple of reasons. They're the same as the UFO people, right? I mean, they don't have any government. They're highly intelligent. They can go invisible. They're teaching people how to go invisible, and they're uplifting the vibration of all humanity. All the people who are involved with Sasquatch now are getting a little boosted up. They're starting to think about spiritual things and think about nature and think about their place. So that's one thing. The other thing is they don't have don't have money and don't have a government. So that's kind of a big one. But then there's a third thing, and that is that way back in the day, the Sasquatch fought alongside human beings. There was a war in India, and there was the same kind of demon humans that they got now. It's just the same dark lords that we're fighting now that are oppressing us and doing all this weird stuff now. And the Sasquatch fought alongside of us. So there's a grudge that they have. They don't want human beings to be connected with the Sasquatch. And that's why all you're going to hear on TV is fear, fear, fear. They're going to get you. They're going to eat you. They can break you out and they're this and they're going to track you and all this fear, fear, fear. That's all you're going to get from the mainstream. That's why we made Pork and Beans, so we can at least talk about people who are just having a regular friendship with these people. You know what I mean? They're people, and you can be friends with them. That's big news. They're people, and you can be friends with them. They can do stuff for you, and you can do stuff for them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons. I mean, they won't even let us say vaccine. You know what I mean? Much less, and the UFO people, they used to kill people for that. Because these people would be getting information from the UFO people. I said, shut that up, be quiet. They got the men in black for the space people, and they got the men in black come around and tell people to not tell stories about what happened in the Sasquatch and shut up about it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I agree with everything you said. Yeah, they certainly don't want us to think that we can live a life of with no division and don't need government and raise vibrations and all that stuff. They don't want us to know that. They
want us to be dependent slaves, not independent free men.
Yeah.
They want us to be dependent on the money, the economy, the jobs, the police, the government, the whole thing.
Well, the Sasquatch people teach us how to break away from that system, with their core truths about love, no judgment, no division, and all that stuff. They don't want that stuff getting out. That's how they control us, by them thinking that we're separate, keeping us in fear, so that's definitely not something that they want well known. So I agree with you with what you said. How about you, Greg? Do you agree with all that?
Oh yeah, I agree with everything he said. Like he said, they make it out to be fear. Horror sells. You know, the Hallmark Channel, yeah, probably ain't popular as horror movies. You know, people love being scared. You know, what better way to be scared, man, than to portray a Bigfoot as a big bloodthirsty monster? And people like us know he's not. So it's like, you know, it's like you're going into, you know, it's a never ending hole. You know, no matter what you say, then they're going to say, well, you don't know what he's talking about. And wait till one comes out and tries to kill him. And, you know, I've been told that before. You know, I'm still waiting for that. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what both of y'all are saying. Yeah, I don't think the Sasquatch people would kill anybody other than somebody that tried to do something to them. You know, and you can't blame them. You know, everybody has a right to defend herself. And if somebody's that stupid enough to do that, hey, they deserve what they get. I mean, you know, like they're out trophy hunting or whatever. You know, like what Michael said, if they are killing one like once a month, whatever, you know, they're not, you know, putting it in a glass cage and wheeling around the country, charging $25 for people to look at it. You know, like Rick Dyer did with that fake one he you know, a number of years ago that he had made, that fake Bigfoot. Yeah, he was going to get rich off that. So if anybody did kill one, that's what they'd probably do with it. I mean, they'd be a millionaire. You know, the only person on the planet with a Bigfoot body. But I don't know, man. You know, I hope that never comes to light that they put one on the table. But here it is. Yeah, I like the mystery that they remain a mystery.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, the forest people don't want. They don't want to interact with us. They don't want to. They don't want to live with us. You know, they want to be by themselves. They want to be left alone. That's all. And can you blame them? I mean, look how the people have gotten. I mean, just from the time we were, you know, growing up, you just put that time date for an example. You know, it's a whole different world compared to, you know, like say the 70s or the 60s, and now look at the 2022 now. It's totally different. I mean, your kids can't go ride their bikes out on the street. You know, some pervert will come by and kidnap them. You can't go to shopping at a mall. You might get shot up by some mad shooter. I mean, the world has changed. It's crazy. Like y'all was talking about earlier. You know, all the hunger, all the homelessness. Yeah, mankind is at an all-time low. And how are they treating us? Oh, they keep raising everything. Yeah, I think one of you even said it's like they're forcing us into this. Just like me having to go back to work. You know, I like eating. Yeah, you can't go to the store like back in the Western days. Hey, I'll pay you for this, man. When the harvest comes in, you know, yeah, they want to see greenback. So
Well,
yeah,
it's called a credit card in a way, but that's another trap.
yeah, with them high interest rates, yeah, that's a crime in itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the history, right? They messed up the history. They say, oh, well, a modern man is only 6,000 years old. Well, 6,000 years is the time of kings. There was kings and wars and perpetual wars for 6,000 years, right? But
Yeah.
when you talk to the archaeologists, you look at those guys, you talk to the people who are anthropologists, they're saying there was an anatomically correct a modern human 200 million years ago. We were shorter, but that's what we were. So that means we got 200 million years of history where we lived exactly like the Sasquatch people. I don't know. We didn't have wars. We didn't have kings. We didn't have economy. We were hunters and gatherers, just like the Sasquatch people. And that's the big history. And if we could have done it, if we can do it then, we can do it now. We can plant our gardens, and we can work as teams, and it's entirely doable. We don't need them; they need us.
Well, I think eventually, I've said for a long time, I think government is a broken system. I think we have to go back more to the natural way of growing our own food and sharing and taking care of each other, and the politics will just be a dinosaur eventually, because it's just obviously such a broken system. They say we elect them to represent us. They don't represent us. They shackle us. They terrorize us. They keep us in fear. They're not representing anything except for hate, division, stuff like that. I don't know. All these people are all caught up in politics or whatever. Can't you see? It's just a fool's game. There's nobody taking care of your interests. It's just one guy's a better liar than the next guy. So
exactly.
He can tell a better bullshit tale, so you can vote for him. But and don't get me wrong, there are some good people, but those good people they get attacked, or they get shamed in the media or whatever. It's terrible what's going on today.
Well, they got this guy. Okay, they got this guy named Mark Twain, and Mark Twain was a satirist and a humorist, and he would always just, he was the guy who said, if you read a newspaper, you're misinformed. If you don't read a newspaper, you're not informed. And if you read a newspaper, you're misinformed. And he would talk about politicians and stuff like that, right? So this has been going a long time. But the thing is what they did is like, nobody wants to deal with politics. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to think about it because it's a cesspool. And so everybody just turns that off. And over the time, they're getting away with murder. It's just been in our lifetime. They did this thing where they took us off the gold standard in the 70s, and then they did this thing where we used to have a deal where you couldn't have monopolies. They got rid of that monopolies, and they just kind of like so that means big corporations can buy up little corporations, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so then we have these monopolies, and all the money goes up to this one group of people. They got all the money, all the banks, all that kind of stuff. The Federal Reserve was in 1913, and so that's just a money-making scheme there, And so there's really only been 100 years where these guys have taken complete control over the money and the power. So I don't know what we're going to do, but nobody wants to do anything because it's just like going into a septic tank, and you got to clean that thing out with your own hand and shovel. Nobody wants to do it, even if you got to be done. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. Plus, the other thing is they preach division, and so when you're divided, you have no power. We don't realize how powerful we are. If we realized how powerful we are, and we took action, all this stuff would stop. Because we really do hold the power, but we just don't. We don't feel that we do. We don't realize we do.
So in that regard, the Sasquatch are being a great example. They don't have a mortgage. They don't have a car payment. They don't have to pay insurance. They don't have to pay tax. They don't have to. And that's what a contrast that is. They are a living example of what it means to be free.
Yeah,
and we used to be that way. We used to be that way for 300 years in America, where you could just go out and stake out your land, and you could live there, and nobody would bother you.
And that's why people are dedicated to calling them monsters, because you can't, when you with the name monsters, you automatically think of a monster. which is not a good thing or whatever. So they're portrayed as monsters because they're actually the total opposite of monsters. They could teach us how to live as a society without judgment, without fear, without division, all that stuff. They hold the keys. That's the lessons that they're teaching me. But the powers that be, the elites, whoever you want to call them, they don't want that information out there. So they got a lot of reasons to call the Sasquatch people monsters, so we don't really realize what they truly are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I like to tell you, speaking of different powers they got, I like to tell you this while it's on my mind. Is happened pretty recently, probably within the last 6 months, that a lot of people say that they can't cloak. They're just masters of hiding. No, they can cloak. They can turn completely invisible.
Absolutely, I've seen them. I've seen them.
Yeah,
materialize right before my eyes. They can cloak.
Yeah,
that's 100% fact.
So this one night in camp, it was a late afternoon. It wasn't even dark or nothing. Wasn't even evening yet. And my good friend Bob Spencer and his daughter Debbie, they always go camping with me. And his wife came to visit for dinner, Saturday night dinner. And we were sitting around the campfire talking. And all of a sudden, I smelled that sewer smell. And I'm like, hey, y'all smell that? And everybody's sitting there like, yeah. And it went away in about 10 seconds. I mean, it was a foul odor. And then Rita, Bob's wife, Bob, he's like almost 80 years old. He loves Sasquatch, totally into it, all aboard, and he loves going out with me because he knows I'll show him the truth of it, what it's all about. And anyway, his wife goes, well, you won't believe this happened to me. There was something standing right next to me, sniffing on my on the side of my face and my neck and my ear, like a man would come up and go sniffing on a woman. This lady, she's an elder. And she knew what happened to her, and she was just giggling away. She loves the subject too, and she just thought it was amazing that happened. So we didn't see hide or hair of this thing, but yet he was right there with us.
Oh yeah.
Ain't that amazing?
Absolutely. Sometimes, like when they toss a little rock over your shoulder or whatever and stuff, sometimes they're right behind you. Just ding, Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure they can cloak. I'm 110% sure they can cloak. There's absolutely no question about it. It's absolutely a fact. I've experienced it too many times.
But you'll see people on TV saying that they can't cloak and they can't make their eyes glow. Shit, stuff that ain't true. That's what irks me.
Well, the sad thing is when you're investigating stuff, to totally disregard people's testimony that thousands and thousands of people talk about, like for instance, the BFRO. People will submit their reports to them. And if there's anything about cloaking or supernatural or abilities or whatever, anything more than I saw a Sasquatch cross the road and, he was flesh and blood and blah, 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 they're going to edit it all out of there. And so there's so much, there's a huge database of information that they've got that they don't even share, which is criminal, really.
Hey, well, let me ask you and Michael something. Get your take on this.
Okay.
And I get asked this question a lot, and I don't have an answer for it. People will ask me, well, if they can cloak, how come Patty didn't cloak that day at Bluff Creek and and there wouldn't be no video if she did. When she seen them guys come up on the horses, why didn't she cloak? I don't know. Why didn't she?
My opinion is because they're coming out and they're teaching people now. They're opening up to people who are open to them, and they're teaching people like me about universal truths and stuff on other people. So they're coming out like Star Nations people or whatever, and people who are trying to wake us up consciously to raise our vibration. So the reason I think that she didn't cloak is because they wanted people to know that they're there. They want people to be aware. This was like bringing them back into the people's consciousness again, you know, because before that, even people who like today that are out hunting them or any kind of activity with Sasquatch or enthusiasts, before that, they really were just like a myth. But when that film came out, it opened up a lot of people's minds and they started getting back into the social consciousness. So that's my opinion on that.
That's very possible.
Yeah.
What about you, Michael?
I think he's out having a cigarette.
Oh.
He's not allowed to smoke in the house like you are.
Yeah. This is my house.
Yeah. Well, probably part of his rental agreement. No smoking.
Oh, yeah.
So he steps out. You know, you were talking earlier about, like I know a good friend and my wife actually, until she gets to join me and she'll be up here with me. But they have little areas that are just like little tiny, like even like a city park or whatever, right? And I'm not saying the Sasquatch live there, but they go there and they do all kinds of stuff. They communicate with them through glyphs. They build little structures and they show themselves to people who are open to seeing them or whatever. So they really, like, I mean, I think Mr. Beans has a little park or something or a little area right across the street from him, and they interact with them there. They don't live there, but you know, they can show
They
up.
like to watch people walk around the park. They like to watch the people and the kids and stuff that walk around. And they have a little walking thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
like
it
to watch
is.
the like ball.
Sorry, guys, we're having a little bit of internet problems, but we're doing okay. We'll just wait it out.
They love watching us.
Was the internet running slow there, Brian?
Yeah, it's a little unstable, but we've got a lot of good we got a lot of good stuff that hasn't been interrupted, so we'll just be patient. I'm sorry about that, everybody.
You don't have to go in the woods. You know, you could go to any park, right? Any place where there's camping or any state park. You don't have to go out where the picnic tables are, and just go out to any park. They know where humans go, and they'll watch them. You'll see their structures and the tree breaks and you know, all kind of little glyphs and stuff. They're there, and they know when people are around. So you can have your little interactions right there, or your house too. They'll come like, you know, move things around your house or let you know that they're around. Throw little pebbles at your windows. I've had that happen to me in Miami and in Savannah. So
Yeah.
you know, you're not bound by having to go to that. So a lot of people can't do it. You know. You don't have to go out and be a, you know, superstar what do you call it, woodsman. So that Sasquatch are real flexible that way. It's about your heart, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, they've come right in my room before. I've seen them in my room. They've made little cliffs in my room. They do it. They pretty well do whatever they want. Time and space is no obstacle for them. As a matter of fact, what do you think of them shape-shifting, Greg? I've had a lot of experiences where they've shape-shifted. I've even seen them. I can tell you a little story that I was just writing this story for my book. And so it's really interesting. I've actually seen them in human form. And I've got a few stories where I know for a fact that they were, but one time my friend and I were camping, and this guy's really connected to Sasquatch too. He's got a great connection. He's got the energy going on and everything like me. And we look up this big slope up the side of the hill or whatever, and we saw what looked like a person had a big stick in their hand, and they beat the tree like a wood knock or something, right? As soon as we looked up, this individual dropped the stick and started running, okay? But what happened was, and it was a Sasquatch cloak, I know that for sure, because what happened was this guy, when he dropped the stick and started running, he looked like Carl Lewis, even faster than Carl Lewis. He went like a speed demon away from us, like running like Carl Lewis on an ideal track, right? You know what I'm saying? But we went up there and looked. This place is all spongy and mossy. It's all like dipped and uneven, and there's a deadfall all around. There's trees falling down. There's obstacles and everything. There is no way. It's impossible. There's no human in the world that could have run that fast. It was just like you'd have to have experienced it, but it's humanly impossible. And it started off with a typical Sasquatch kind of thing, a knock, and then this individual just took off, man. And like I swear, 100% no way that a person could have done that. Just the terrain was too rough, too obstacle, and that kind of thing. No, it was because at the same time we were getting all kinds of teachings and energy and whatever going on too. We were feeling them, and we were having interaction with them independent of that. But yeah, that was one example where we saw them in human form. They have an advanced understanding energy. So basically, they just put the thought out there, and they can put their energy or transform their energy into any shape or sound or anything that they want. They can do stuff like you'll have 4 people walking along, and 2 people will hear what sounds like an avalanche or something, like a bang, like a huge noise that like it just defies logic, and the other 2 people in there won't experience anything.
They won't even hear it.
They won't even hear it. They won't have any idea what's going on, and the other 2 are like jumping just right out of their shoes. It's like, whoa, did you hear that? So their masters are doing all that stuff, and it all revolves around energy, right?
Yeah, I always said that a lot of it has to do with how much energy you possess. What kind of level are you at with your inner energy? Everybody has different energy, and if you got good high energy, very positive, a good attitude, like we've been talking about the whole show, a good heart. Yeah, you can't go to the department store to buy a good heart. You're either born with one or you're not. You're either a good person or you're a bad person.
And there's a point to that. There's a point to that because they're on such a high vibration, right? So when we're on a good energy, like kids laughing, playing music, when our vibrations raise, we're able to meet them more in the middle or whatever. That's when the experiences start happening, because we're getting closer to a higher vibration. So it's easier for them to connect with us. If you're talking about jabs and people dying and whatever and all this negative stuff, and you just focused on that and you put your intention and everything into that, they're never going to come around. They're going to stay clear of you. But then as soon as you get the guitars out and start singing, or you start talking about them and their spirituality and what beautiful people they are, that's when they're going to start coming around, and you'll hear them and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but like you said, people that are all negative, low energy, I call them Debbie and Donnie Downer. Yeah, they're never happy with nothing. They're them kind of people. Their energy's way down here, and Sasquatch is way up here, and then they're never gonna meet.
Exactly.
But like you just said, people like us, our energy's gonna float more towards their level. Yeah, it will never be to their level, but we can come. We can get so close, but that's better than most. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they put me in a state where it was close or whatever, where I felt universal truths and big teachings and whatever, and kind of like love and kind of how they are. But yeah, but you have to, it's not just like a magic pill. You have to, well, I think you're born with it and you're natural. It's part of you, who you are, but you also, you have to work at it, right?
Yeah. You just got to continue doing what you do.
Exactly, right.
I mean, respect everything when you're in the forest. Don't litter. Don't be a litter bug. Don't start a wildfire. Control. What you do. You make a mess. You clean it up. You leave a campsite. You put the fire out. Just so it burned out. Oh, you put the damn fire out. That's how powerful. I mean, the forest people live out there. We don't want to burn down the woods. There's already enough forest fires. Don't pollute the water. The skies, everything. Don't burn plastic. For God's sake, people's got to breathe this air. There ain't nothing worse than somebody throwing a plastic in a fire. Like a 2-liter bottle or plastic or around, a case of Coke, whatever the case may be. Bag it up, man. We don't want to, the forest people, they don't want to breathe that. We don't want to breathe it either. Not only, your manners in the forest, the same way you live in everyday life. They know what kind of man you are. I mean, is there stray cats around that you feed? Is there raccoons that come to your house every night that want a meal? That's what God judges a man from his heart.
Yeah.
I mean, do you throw a buck in the homeless man's hand at the stop sign that is begging for money? I ain't gonna say if he could work or not. I'm not the judge of that. But for all we know, that could be a test, a heavenly test. Was this guy going to help out his fellow human? And that's what Jesus was all about, helping mankind out. His two favorite people were thieves and criminals, because he liked turning them kind of people around. You know what I mean? So, and the forest people judge you by your everyday actions. How do you treat your family? How do you treat your wife? Are you abuser? Do you hit her? How do you hit your kids? Or are you a complete a-hole? I mean, I've seen a lot of bad parents in my life, and thank God I haven't been one. But this all relates.
One of my big lessons is that they don't have judgment, but they're not going to associate or hang out or have anything to do with those people.
Right. But they're not gonna they're not gonna take them to trial for it.
No.
That's what God's for.
Yeah. People we put ourselves on we got to realize that we're part of everything. The plants, the rocks, the animals, everything. We put ourselves on a pedestal and try to divide ourselves from all this stuff. When we're in a really good state of high energy and love or whatever, we understand that we don't judge all these other things as lesser than us. We embrace it as part of everything, like mankind thinks too highly of himself as if we're better and on a different level than everything else. And it's actually keeping us divided from everything else.
Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of different levels of people in society. I mean, you got your circles. Yeah, for one end of the spectrum, the rich billionaire types, all the way down to the homeless person that ain't got a pot to piss in. So I mean, it's life. And yeah, a lot of it is what you make out of it. I mean, some people might have been thrown into that situation. I don't know. Like you, I'm not here to judge them, but God has gave us all abilities, talents to succeed in this life, and make a good living, make a good wage. God knew about wages. And what's it say in the Bible? He expects us to work hard each and every day, and in return, we'll get a good daily wage. Yeah, and he wrote this, way back then. That's some people may not be able to work. I mean, then you got disabled people, then you got mentally disturbed people that can't work. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's really sad, man, to think of all this is going on, and there's only so much people can do for other people. I mean, if I won that $1 billion lottery, I'm sure y'all been keeping up with it. Here, North America, they got a lot of super lottos, like up to $1 billion. If I won something like that, I'd probably give most of it away to charity and people that needed it. I don't need that much money, but at the point in my life now, I couldn't help much people. I help people when I can. So I think the best way I help people is opening up their minds,
their hearts,
changing their point of views of what's going
say
on.
That. You're right. Yes, that's the best
thing
you
that's
can,
my
that's the best
gift.
thing you can do. That's the best.
That's the
I got a
best I can offer
question.
them. And I think
I got a question.
more
I
than
got
what
a
money can
question.
buy.
Go ahead.
I
I
got a
was just
question.
gonna say, Michael, go ahead.
You've been doing this for a long time, and every once in a while you take out groups of people, groups of friends and stuff. And we're talking about the spiritual side of Sasquatch. I wanted to ask you. The question is have you seen any of those people who've been out with you? Have you seen their life change? And if so, how did it change? For the better, the worse, or you know, after they've been
Oh,
out?
usually, I mean, most of the people that have encounters or see them out there, yeah, it does change them. And other people, it leaves them leaving with more questions than when they came there. So that's one thing I try to get across to people. When stuff happens, don't question it. Don't try to debunk it. I mean, you're seeing this stuff in live action happening, and you think they're out there wanting people up there going, well, that could be this or that could. No, they don't, man. That's a turnoff to them. So again, back to positive minded people, but with an open mind. That's what key the word is open mind. So your mind can absorb this stuff. Yeah, like eye glow. Um, yeah, that's one of the reasons I really don't like Bigfoot conferences. I went to one a number of years ago, and there was a big shot guy in there. And when me and my buddies went in there, my friends on Team Squatch, man, and see what this guy had to say. This guy's all over TV. He's got all kinds of books. He's even got a museum. He's well respected. Everybody thinks he's a guru, an expert, whatever you call them people. So he's up there on the stage, and he's talking about eye shine, and he said, he goes, all I can tell you people about eye shine, eye glow, or whatever you call it, it's utterly nonsense. He goes, if you hear or see anybody talking about such nonsense, best thing you can do is turn around and run. And me and my, yeah, yeah, and I would love to say this man's name, but I will refrain because I'm a better man.
Yeah.
But you know, these people are paying, you know, 35, 45, 55, or whatever. I mean, it seems like them tickets are getting more and more every year, and they think they're paying this money to hear from the experts, but the experts are telling them stuff like this.
Yeah.
And that ain't fair to the people that see, well, you was talking about earlier, you know, they're teaching people the wrong stuff. I mean, I glow is true. I can go out any night of the week and see it. I can go to any part of the forest and see it. You know, there ain't nothing, no other explanation for what it is than forest people out there with their eyes glowing. They do it, and they all have different color eyes, and that's a fact. Just like you said about cloaking, I will verify this to my grave 110% that their eyes glow. And another thing I like to harp on is the strength that they possess. Yeah, I think a lot to myself. You never hear us brought up, but you hear people, the experts say that a common chimpanzee is equivalent to the strength of 4 men. I mean, I've heard that before. Okay, what would you think? How many men would be equivalent to a 12-foot, 1,200-pound Sasquatch? Probably the best physique on the planet. I mean, how many men would compare their strength bundled together against his? 100, 150? There's no way of telling. It may be a lot higher than that, but that what intrigues me the most out of them is their strength. I mean, anything can go up to a 3-foot Indiana red oak tree and shake it violently like a rag doll till it cracks and breaks open or comes up by the root ball, whatever comes first. I mean, my gosh, well, what a demonstration of strength and force that no man can ever reproduce what they did. That's amazing right there.
There's more than one story of them killing bulls by just snapping their neck. There's more than one story about that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable. You ever stood next to a bull? I mean, those things are as tall as you are on the hump. And they're
They're huge, very
they're
muscular.
Huge. How are you gonna grab a hold of his head and snap his neck?
Yeah.
There's a couple things that you said, Greg. First of all, these people who are like the big shots or whatever, a lot of them got the big ego. So they're afraid that people are going to think, you know, they're crazy or something if they say anything a little bit out there. But the other thing is that they don't experience that stuff because the Sasquatch people, the only way to connect with them is with good intentions and through your heart and love. If you don't do that, they're not going to show you dick, man. They don't show these guys. They don't show these guys anything. They might occasionally, they might get a track once in a blue moon, or they might hear a scream, or they get scared out of their mind. But they don't show them anything important.
Yeah, no, you're right. 100% agreed.
You know, so I mean, you know, in all due humility, the first day I went out with my friend Randy Brisson, the First Nations guy who showed me, the interaction I had with them that day, and the intelligence, and I figured out they were humans or whatever. I knew more in the first day I was out than some of these experts learn in 30, 40 years of their whole career, because they don't care to show them anything. They're not going to show them nothing. And but the other thing is that the sad thing is that these guys have so many followers and whatever, because people like the fear narrative. They like the boogeyman in the closet. They like the monsters, you know, and all that stuff. and people like us, and I'm not complaining, but we don't get a whole lot. Well, maybe you do because you're famous, but we don't get a whole lot of views and shit because we're talking truth that people don't want to hear.
Yeah, they don't want to hear it.
And because it's not common for people to talk about it, they just think it's like, well, these guys are on fairy dust or whatever, like these guys are right out of their minds.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit their agenda. It's just like politics. But yeah, once they got their mind set up, they're not gonna believe anything other than, like just say, for an example, a flesh and blood only undiscovered ape man or something, whatever they think they are. And we know all that. That's another thing. That ain't nothing but a big lie.
The other thing is man's ego, like I said. We think we're so superior, whatever. Most people don't want to even consider that there's something out there that's got more abilities and is on a higher vibration than us. We don't. We're the kings, right? So that can't be real.
Yeah, well, it would look bad. All the books they wrote about all that, their agenda, it wouldn't follow their agenda, and it would prove all that shit they said and wrote was all crap. Yeah, just like they speak.
Anyway, you asked me what I thought about the Patterson film and why it happened, and I said I think it's because they wanted to introduce themselves into our consciousness again. What do you think, Beans? That's what Craig said. People asked him. Sorry, Craig said people asked him, why do you think that the Patty didn't cloak or whatever during that film? I think it was because she wanted to be seen. She wanted to come back into our social consciousness so that what's happening today, is playing out like it is. But what do you think?
I can't speak for the lady Patty, what she was thinking about that day, because back at that time, cameras were unheard of in the woods, and she probably didn't know. And to her, it wouldn't make that much difference just to have two humans see her. But they had a camera, so I think it was part accident. But it was a fortunate accident for us, and it was also a fortunate accident for the Sasquatch because they need us to know they're around. They're not going to be interacting with us unless they need unless they need to be known to exist. You know what I mean? I think it's important, and they need to do it on their level.
Well, yeah, they want to raise our consciousness too, because let's face it, this is their planet too, right? The way we are right now, we're destroying every damn thing, and so they're part of it. So they're being affected, and every other living creature on.
I'll tell you something else a lot of people don't think about, and that is the star people. I've been watching these people who like this one guy wrote a book on 84 different star nations that interact with humans face to face over time, right? So you're going back to the 1940s till now. So there's 84 different races of star people, and they've got all their stuff resolved mostly. And right now, they're watching how it is that the human race relates to the Sasquatch people. Because if we don't get that right, then they're not going to come here and give us technology and give us higher learning, because we're not ready. So we got to pretty much prove to the whole universe that we got a heart for our fellow beings that are on this planet. And so far we've got a little bit away from that, but I think that's a big test. And it's as soon as the Sasquatch are recognized as a protected human species, then that's like a big green light for the star people to come down, and they're going to set up shops and medical centers and educational centers and all kind of stuff, trade. So it's the Sasquatch human dynamics and the human to interspecies dynamics, like Jenny Jablonski, right? There's this whole push for interspecies communication, because on the Star Nations, they treat all animals and all humans and everything, they treat them the same.
Right.
You know, they don't do this sort of animal cruelty thing that we do.
And they don't put themselves above nature and the forest and the animals, the
No.
First Nation people. That's our thing, and that's why we're so disconnected, like I said, from everything. Yeah.
And this brings me to the point I wanted to bring back up. That making friends with the Sasquatch people is a big deal now, and I wanted to have Greg talk some more about how you do it, because this was not a one and done deal. You spent years building up that trust and gifting and not having any expectations and could you talk some more about how you did it, how you became friends with the Sasquatch people? I know it wasn't overnight.
Well, yeah, it wasn't overnight. Yeah, it was a long process. Yeah, I was telling you how I walked that creek a lot. I figure I keep going to the same spot. They'd get to know me. I'd get to, find out what's going on and seeing if there's anything out there. Then I started finding different stuff, structures, bows, footprints. So yeah, I knew they were there. So then I started leaving fruits out, like on fallen trees over the creek, stuff like that. And they would never take them. I mean, a lot of fruit got rotted out there. And I was like, yeah, I wonder why they didn't take. They're not taking none of my gifts. So all that changed one day when me and Eugene, there was a branch going like this, off the wood into the creek, and we put a line of donuts up the branch there. Yeah, we walked another couple of miles down, and on our way back, every donut was gone. And they were sitting there going, "Hey, well, maybe they don't like no fruit, man. Maybe they want donuts." So we started bringing donuts all the time, and a lot of times we'd give them donuts, and you could hear them laughter. You could hear them laugh, and they were happy. It's like, donuts. And so I come to the assumption, they like stuff that they can't get. I don't know. I ain't saying they can get bananas out in the woods or apples. I'm sure they could get apples at a close by farm, whatever. There's farms everywhere in America. And they can get corn, they can get tomatoes, they can get a lot of stuff. They'll pilferage through people's gardens, but they cannot get a donut, something sweet. So, whatever the reason was, I started giving them donuts, and they just absolutely love them. And and that was another way to build up trust with them. And then one day I found that gifting stump where I started camping at, about 100 feet back behind the campground. And I started putting my gifts back there. And over the years, we put out rotisserie, whole chickens, cheeseburgers, all kinds of stuff. Besides all the goodies, so we put out healthy food too. A lot of fruits and vegetables. Put out a watermelon one time, with just a whole watermelon. And that whole thing was missing. Never found a trace of that. So you can't write a raccoon. A lot of people say, the raccoons wasn't getting it. The raccoons are around now, but they wasn't back then. And I ain't never seen a raccoon gonna carry a watermelon off. So anyway, then I talked to him and I was gifting him. I was like, hey, look, I got nice, healthy, maybe not so healthy snacks for y'all, but I know you like it. It's for you, your little ones. Please help yourself. Come up and get them. And I go back up to camp. A couple hours later, I go back and there'd be stuff missing. And usually by morning time, the whole stump would be clean, everything gone. And in return, like I said earlier, I'd ask them to do stuff. and they always do, like true friends. They're like, hey man, you was nice to us. Yeah, we'll give you something. And sometimes it's more than what people are gonna handle. But
How long did it take to get to that point?
oh, that was yeah, I'd say that was a good 6 year doing that till I got to the point where I started talking to him, and that was my turning point where I really become connected. Um, and then I mean they really challenged my mentality with some of the stuff they done, some of the stuff I heard. Yeah, I mean, could this really be happening? Just like I told you about tonight, they pushed 8 trees down. And when I asked them to, I told you that last interview when I was with Ernie and Denise Pike of Pac-Man Paranormal. I told them I was moving to Washington and I really wanted something big. Because, I probably would never be back to this forest again. And I raised my arms up like I always do. I mean, I really put my heart and soul into asking them stuff. I just don't walk out there, hey, could you do this? Yeah, I mean, I really put my, with all the energy we talked about, I harness all my energy. The people with me, I try to get them on the same page. I harness their energy, all for the same objective. And some really good stuff happens when everybody's on board. But I mean, I go home from a camping trip drained. People don't know how much energy I put in, summoning the forest people. I mean, it's like a connection we have. The wavelength, my energy, my vibrations, and this whole body takes a lot of draining. I don't know if they're draining my energy or if it takes energy to attract, whatever the case may be. It's working, and so so you figure, I've been doing this since that one that came down on the hill back in November of '02, and this is almost November of 22 coming up. So yeah, a good even 20 years, man. And but I really didn't start getting really good results until I started figuring it all out. Actually, after I met a couple certain people, like Arla Cola and Parker Duvall, people that are a lot like me. I mean, nobody's exactly alike, but hearing their perspective on everything has really changed the way I thought and everything, and then I went in that direction, and then I figured out everything. My son helped me a lot, with the energy, about Tesla's theory. A high energy object is going to attract a high energy object.
Yeah.
And he explained to me, quantum physics. He's telling me what's going on out there. I mean, I'm old school. I'm no Rhodes Scholar, not by any means, but I am very smart out in the woods. I'm very intelligent, and I can figure things out, man, but where most men can't. And all this that I call putting the puzzle together. And over the 20 years, I've been putting pieces in, and I'd say my puzzle's well over halfway completed. And I'm getting a lot of answers. I'm getting a lot of stuff I wanted to know that I'm getting the answers to. But like I told you before, my main objective is I want to meet Mr. Sasquatch. I want to meet his family. I want to break bread with him. I want to sit in a circle. I want to talk to him. I want him to pick my brain. I want to pick his brain, and that's my ultimate goal in this. And until that happens, and I feel it's very close of happening, Um, I will not be completely satisfied with my journey, but I think, like we were talking about, harnessing energy, manifesting this. This is all I do every time we're up there. You wouldn't believe the energy I put out to make this happen. For one, to walk right into camp and stand right there by the fire with us. I mean, this is what I want, and and then I will walk off alone with nobody else, just myself, and I will go on a learning journey with this guy, and I will learn everything that. So when I leave, I will have no doubt about anything about them, who they are, what they are, well, what are they doing, what are they gonna do, what are their relationship with God, well, what's their ultimate goal here, um, and I will be a fulfilled, satisfied man, and I will keep most of it all right here, as if it's for me and not anybody else. And that's one thing I promised them along this journey. I told them, I'm not here to get your picture, even though I got some great pictures. A lot of them by pure luck, some by accident. But I don't even try to take pictures no more. I don't care about no evidence. I just told you what my journey is right now. That's the only thing on my mind. All that other stuff don't mean nothing to me. And until that happens, I'm gonna continue the quest. And like I said, I think it will happen soon. I mean, they're already standing right there, 20, 30 feet from us while watching us. I mean, you could tell they want to come in. And that's what I ask them every time. You're welcome to join us. Please come. Please stand here with us. No harm to you or your family. All we want to do is see you. And like I said, it hasn't worked yet, or has it? They have come into the camp. We just didn't see them, but we smelled them.
Yeah.
So maybe it has worked. I mean, maybe they're doing like I'm doing. They're building up. They're building up. And finally, one day it's going to happen. And I'm going to be standing there like a deer in the headlights. But that's the day I have to prepare myself for. Am I prepared now? I would like to tell you I am, but honestly, I don't think I am. I still think I need to build up my resistance to the unknown. I mean, how deep can you go into this? Sometimes I fear that I might get to the point of no return. I mean, sometimes I could be reaching a dangerous part of my journey. Not saying that I am, I just don't know. So it's a day by day thing. Something you can't plan, something you don't know what's going to happen. What I tell everybody, expect the unexpected, and manifest your energy, and hope for the best. And a lot of times this works. I mean, I told you on that last interview how me, Eugene, and John Gregory talked about seeing a whole group like that lady did on Finding Bigfoot. A whole group of them run through the campground. She said 20 of them. They all had yellow eye glow. Little ones, big ones, tall ones, skinny ones. Yeah, she's seen them good, she said. So we talked about that for 2 days, and we wanted to see that. That night, we seen 12 together in a UFO. What I'm talking about, manifesting energy.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're talking about
really
that.
works.
You got 20 years of being associated and being friends with the Sasquatch. And I started in 2012, and I got that's 10 years of being friends and associated with Sasquatch on a conscious level. How about you, Brian? When did you start?
Well, there's two sides to that. because I think that they were always aware of me and the people that they connect with, because I've always had a fascination with them all my life. So they were already reaching out to me before I was consciously aware of it. But when I got my call to go to the mountains and everything started really amping up was 2012.
Okay, so you got 10 years. 10 years. So, but between the three of us, we got 40 years of friendship. 40 years of friendship with the Sasquatch, or at least knowledge of, you know,
Yeah.
My friendship was pretty fast because I didn't go in the woods, but when I felt them, I knew who they were because they felt like God men. They felt like holy beings. Their presence was that of a holy man. And I've met holy men before, and like like Greg was saying, they're high energy beings. These high energy beings who are in the heart, that's what you call a holy man. And yeah, you gotta match their energy a little bit, or else it's apples to apples.
Yeah, let me add to that, Michael. You're right. You got to match your energy. And way back when, most men could have matched that energy. Um, yeah, we was talking about earlier, the average lifespan of a male is 75 years. Well, we'll look back in the biblical days. When most of them guys lived well into their hundreds. Look at Moses, 140 years old, leading the chosen ones through the desert. 140 years old. It wasn't because people lived longer back then. It's because people knew how to harness the energy of the universe. People knew how to take care of their temples. They knew what to eat right. They knew better than to drink and smoke and do damaging things to their body. They were just all around better, godly, more energetic people than us of today. I'm not saying that it's a lost trait. Well, all three of us possess that energy. Do we possess it like Moses had? Probably not. But we get a good feel of what Moses felt. Yeah, a lot of that energy has to do with God. Well, what kind of energy of God's spirit do you have running through your temple? Do
Got
you
that
just
right.
speak it, or do you really worthy of it? And that all relates to the energy you emit. And if you get 5 people together with that energy, just say me and Michael, Brian, and 2 people like us, and all harness their energy and pray and beg for one to walk to us. Chances would be good that that would happen. That's what I'm speaking when I speak of all
Oh
this
yeah.
energy.
Well,
Yeah.
look at Barry Webster. He goes out with a handful of people, sometimes 8, sometimes 3, and all he does is he goes to 3 or 4 different locations every night, and they just sit on the side of the road in their trucks, at the tailgate of their trucks, and he prays for the Sasquatch people. He just says a prayer, a nice long prayer for the Sasquatch people, and he's been doing this year after year after year. And they've been giving him in unbelievable, mind-blowing experiences. Like one time, a cloaked Sasquatch came up right behind him while he was praying, and it was just him and his sister that night. And he said, "You want to see me, right? You want to see me?" And he was invisible, right? And as Barry was praying, right? Barry just kept his concentration on praying because he's a godly man. And Linda Jo Fried said she could see that Barry was becoming invisible from the feet up and got up to about his chest. And then when the Sasquatch walked away, he became visible again. And this is a human being praying in front of Sasquatch. and then he said he dropped down about 6 inches onto the ground. So he not only got invisible, but he levitated, and that's just one of hundreds of stories. Plus,
Wonderful.
he's got like 300 sightings. He stopped counting at 300 sightings because he would never even go into the woods. He would just be on the side of the wood, and the woods would be over there, and they would line up in the woods, and he would pray to them, and people would send them their prayers, and then they'd move on to the next place. And he's been doing that for years and years and years, and getting results. So what you're saying about matching their energy, and prayers one way of doing it, meditation is another way of doing it. And playing music or having fun, that raises your energy too. If you can have good-hearted fun, that raises your energy.
Yeah, good festival crowd. Joyous people, laughter, good food. Yeah, that's what they love to see.
Yeah,
everybody getting along.
And Greg, you're right about when you have a bunch of people like us together or whatever. Like actually, I don't host them. Like the Sasquatch tell me who to invite when I have my gatherings. But when you have a whole bunch of people who are spiritually connected to the Sasquatch people or whatever, that's when they'll start walking right through camp. They'll start shape shifting, and they'll mind speak and healings and all this stuff because it's such an accumulation of a positive energy. It's like a magnet to them.
Magnet. No ifs, ands, or buts. And it's nice to know other people know this. Like you said, a lot of people, no matter what you tell them, they're not going to swallow it. So, like I said, I'm not here to prove anything to anybody.
No.
I just know what I know.
Yeah, well, when I take pictures of their stuff, teach with their glyphs and whatever, it's not because I'm into evidence or whatever. It's to open people's hearts and minds, to consider.
Yeah.
To consider what is out there and who they are. And that's one of the works they have me doing. But
I think that's what they want us to do. Speak the truth about them. There's too many lies going around about them. And they like people like us to get the truth out.
There's a little joke I was saying that is like, ask not what the Sasquatch can do for you, ask what you can do for the Sasquatch. That's a little bit of a joke, yeah, but it's true. You give them respect, and you give them like in your case, you were giving them little treats and food, and you invited them into your camp, and for me and Brian, it's like, so I speak about Sasquatch, and I'm in a way, this is my like serving or helping them to put a good light on the Sasquatch people. Because I've been doing that, I stay in the loop. I stay in that connection loop with Sasquatch. Brian does it because every time he talks about the Sasquatch, he gets a feeling of confirmation, is like a little blessing, or like a little zap, a little poke, and so there's a lot to be said for that. You can't just be greedy. You got to be willing to give and tell your story, and just tell it how it is. That's like a gift to them. They need people who know them to speak up, to talk about what's real.
And the people they trust, they nudge to tell the truth or whatever, like what I get or whatever. They'll nudge me with an energy when I'm speaking the truth. That's my confirmation and encourages me to keep doing it. And even when I'm writing my book, I feel their hand guiding my writing. Everything I write about, I trust, because they wouldn't allow me to write something that wasn't true. So it's there's a lot of guidance going on and direction from them, even through like thought placement and stuff. But
still, it's like an energy exchange. It's not like I don't feel like I'm taking anything from them. I never ask them for anything.
No.
What I do is I just like let them present me with who they are, what they want to give me, And they've given me so many understandings and so many insights into history and insight into spirituality that, just by accepting that they're there, they will give you insights into your history. Like Brian, he was conscious of getting a call to go to the woods. And then they gave him the history of remembering that they've been with him when he was a child. And that's very common. A lot of people see a Sasquatch when they're 6 or 7 years old. And then the light comes on when they're 45 years old. Bing, the light goes on. And, there's something going on here. It's a friendship that's been my whole life that I didn't even know.
Yeah. So, Greg, Mr. Beans asked you this, but excuse me, I wanted to get a little more specific. So have you taken any, is there one, and you don't have to name names, but is there an individual or give us an example of somebody that you took out that had their life completely transformed because they were open, their heart was open, and just started having incredible experiences? And I don't need a name, but can you just kind of describe how their life was changed?
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, for the most part, just awakens them. I call it the awakening. Yeah, where they go from being on the fence to jumping over the fence, and then they know. And some people show more happiness and emotion than others. But there was this one guy in particular, Jungle George. He was from Idaho. And he got a hold of me on Facebook, and he goes, "Yeah, man, I've been looking at all these people on here, all these Bigfoot people, and he goes, I really want a Bigfoot experience. I'd love to see one, and I just want to know if I could fly to Indiana and and maybe you can take me out, man, and maybe we'll see one." And he told me he was a poor man. He didn't have a lot of money, but he could round up the money, barter and stuff, whatever he did. He said, Idaho's a pretty barren state. So anyway, I said, hey, I don't care, man. Like you said, I'm all about showing people. So he came here, and we had a pretty good weekend going. And Saturday night we were sitting around the fire, and I know this one friend of mine brings night vision goggles, but I don't allow him to use them. But it's just part of his gear he's got, and so one night George wanted to just look through one. Said he never seen how they work or whatever. I said, yeah, it ain't no problem, man. Here, go ahead and look around. So he picked them up, and he's looking around, and he looked over his way, and he's like, "Oh my God!" And he stood there for a second. And we're like, "What?" And he goes, "I just seen one, man. And there's one right there by that tree. He's real down low, and he's sticking his head around." He goes, "I've seen the whole thing, man, everything." And we're all sitting there, and I said, I go, "Hey, well, welcome." And he goes, "Well, I just seen a Bigfoot, man, and that's all you're gonna say is welcome?" I said, "Yeah, welcome to the club." I go, "You seen one?" I go, "Everybody here has seen one. I've seen multiple." I go, "That's what we do, man. That's what we want to do." I go, "Sometimes I go home disappointed if I don't see one." I go, "Hey, congratulations. You came for what you seek. And I was blessed enough to give you your wish." And he's just electrified, ecstatic. We came back Sunday night, let him spend the night at my house. I took him to the airport Monday morning, and that's all he talked about. And when he got home, he drew a picture of it and put a post on Facebook. He goes, "Hey, I seen a Bigfoot, man, a Squatch man, turn me on to a Bigfoot. And this is what it looked like." And a lot of people loved it. And And his change was, he changed into a godly man. He seeked out a beautiful lady with children. He married her. Now he's living happily ever after up there in Idaho, completely away from Bigfoot. He got his wish. He got what he seeked, and satisfied his need. And the biggest change, like I said, I seen in him is he changed into a very, very godly man, and which is really cool.
And not
I don't
unusual.
know if because he's seen one, or he just took a leap of faith. I don't know what happened, but I feel I had something to do with it.
Yeah.
And he went on a Vic Condiff show. Somehow Vic told him about the encounter. So that's all he talked about was Greg Yost this, Greg Yost that. The man, he's the best out there, man. He goes, everything he says is all true. It all happens. I seen everything, the eye shine, noises, tree knocks. I heard a scream one night. So that was really active. And then he's seen one the last night we were there. And it changed his life, man. Changed him to a better man. I don't know. I'm not around other people enough to really know how it changed their lives. I know it changed my life. I know it changed my son's life. I know it changed my son's wife's life.
How did it change your life?
Excuse me?
How did it change your life? Tell us that.
Well, it made me a more positive man. It made me a kinder, gentler man. It made me a man who wanted to show people the truth about what I seen. And it was hard at first. I got ridiculed. I got laughed at, especially at work. Nobody believes in that. But yet I felt because of how I seen them, it was my job to tell people that they're real. It's not a myth. It's not a town legend. It's not folklore. It's real. I've seen them. Then I've seen two more. Then I've seen another one. Yeah, it just keeps going and going. So they're real. So it took a lot. It took a lot of. I was getting ready to just quit talking about it, but that's another thing that changed in me. My inner energy said no. You're not going to do that. You're going to tell people about them. You're going to tell them the truth. And if people don't believe you, that's their problem. But that's what you're going to do, and that's what you got to do. So that's what I'm doing. And I will keep doing it. I never sugarcoat nothing. I never tell people stuff that ain't true.
Well, yeah.
If I believe in my heart that it's true, then it's true. Until I'm proven that it's not, hey, I'll shake your hand. Hey, thanks a lot, man. I thought that was true. But you just proved to me it wasn't. But in reality, a lot of that is not going to happen because most men will not reach the plateau where I'm at right now. That's why so many people have a hard time believing a lot of this stuff because it don't happen to them.
Right.
But it happens to me, and it happens to a lot of people that come to my campsite. And I will tell you, some people do come. They flat out dislike. And you're talking about how they protect you. This is a pretty good story. Oh, I had a group camp out, which I always have group camp outs, and there was about 20 people there. In the camp out before that, this one gentleman spewed lies about me and his lady, saying that we had yeah, you just say we had inappropriate behavior, which was totally untrue. I mean, just one flat out lie. And I even confronted this man about it after I heard of it, and told him, I'm not gonna damn you. I'm not gonna hate you. I go, but I'd appreciate it if you didn't lie about me. Apparently, this guy wanted this little girl or whatever. I don't know what his intentions was, but that's another thing I learned: not to hate people over trivia stuff. Hey, forget and forgive. Move on with life. Life's too short. So anyway, the forest people didn't forget. We were up there at the campfire, and he was sitting with his back to the wood line, and we're all sitting around. All of a sudden, he's like, "Ah!" And he took his hand like this, went like that. Man, it was all bloody. And a couple of girls get up and turn their lights on it. And there's a good sized rock, man, right there behind his chair. And he said they whizzed out a fastball, man, in the back of the head on him, cracked him good, cracked him so good he packed up and left. Never has returned. So I want to think that was my payback for him, scrutinizing my good name and reputation. I shouldn't have to go around defending that. Everybody knows me and what kind of man I am. And only people who talk behind my back are just jealous people that will never have the success that I have. I have found that out too. And like y'all said earlier, the worst kind of thing on this planet is man himself. I mean, even people that come in the name as friends will be known to stab you. I have found this out firsthand. So the force people side of it has been great, but the people side of it, not so. So like we talked about on the last interview, you got to weed these people out and get the people that truly want to ride in your ship, want to listen to you, want to take your advice, will want to believe everything that's happening that they're seeing with their own two eyes without asking questions. These are my kind of people. And Bob, I was telling you about it. Me and him is really connected as friends. And I would never think I'd be best friends with an 80-year-old man, but I am, because not once has this man has done anything other than what I have asked of him to do. I don't ask much, but I've had really close friends that have had trail cameras out in my hot spots. I mean, and that's a close friend. A lot has to do with the people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard finding good people out there. It really is. I mean, I couldn't put a number on it, but what would y'all say out of every 100 people? How many would you say is really good-hearted, decent people? I'd probably say about 60. Every 100, 60 good people, 40 bad people. And that might be saying too much, but there is a lot of good people out there. So, I'm not going to wipe humanity off the globe yet. I mean, things can change.
Well, I mean, we're being controlled by just a few bad people.
Exactly. Well,
and we're being controlled by fear, lies, division, that kind of thing. So it's not that they're bad people. They just don't realize the power, you know, and that we have the ability to stop it. Yeah.
You know what they say, one bad apple can spoil the whole barrel.
Yeah.
Well, that holds true with who you bring to the forest.
Like I told you,
bad apple ruined the whole weekend.
Like I told you last time we talked, when I have my gatherings, I don't even call them my gatherings. I call them the RE and the family gatherings. They're the ones who invite the people. I'll just come up to them, not by coincidence, and I'll start feeling energy that they like them, and I'll start talking to them. So they let me know who they want to connect with, who they want invited, that kind of thing. So I've never really had a bad person go there because they're inviting everybody. So there's never been anybody who's been disrespectful that has actually gone there.
Yeah, but what Dad said, then you got to worry about people coming back when you're not there.
Sure.
You hear that?
What's that?
Yeah, but Sasquatch can take care of themselves. You know, and people will get burned out if they're up to no good. They'll get tired of that because then the Sasquatch won't give them the time of day. So
yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter that much that bad people come around. I mean, it does in a sense. They might not hang around there as much or whatever, but they're not threatened by that. They just don't show themselves. I mean, my clan leader, even though I know there are some people hurting Sasquatch and people have bad intentions and everything for them, my guys, they say they're not concerned about it. I don't know. I mean, they're a pretty evolved clan. I don't know if it's because of their abilities to avoid detection or whatever, but they're not that concerned about it. My guys personally.
Right. Well, like Michael said, they can take care of themselves.
Yeah.
They know who to mess with, who not to.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've been going on for 2 hours and 40 minutes. You want to tell another story or two, or do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I can tell one more story, man. But yeah, I need to get me some grub going, man. I'm starving.
Me too. Yeah,
I'm hungry as a squatch.
Yeah,
I'll tell another story. And this is another good one. Yeah, like I said, I love all my encounters. Yeah, but this one was a really good one. It was almost Patty-like the way this happened.
Okay.
I was walking that same creek, year after year, man. I mean, some days, 2 or 3 days a week, I walked that creek. And then this was in the wintertime. And there wasn't no leaves on the trees or nothing. Nice and bare out there. You can see really good. And I found a baby print in the creek. And I found an adolescent print a little bigger than the baby print. So I'm like, well, man, I'm going to cast this. Okay, now to add to this story, this was in March. Back in July, I came across it was a cave opening, but it wasn't a cave. It was a washout through a little ravine there, but there's a big opening there where you could go inside, humans, Sasquatch, whatever. And I was taking a picture of it. I was going to show my buddy this would be a good place for one to hide, on a hot summer day. This was in July, like I just said. And I took one picture. I was pretty close, man, about 30 feet away. And I started getting real dizzy, started real confused, disorientated. I went down to my knees. I felt like I had to throw up. I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what is happening? So I go, man, you got to get out of here, dude. So I started walking away. As soon as I got about 100 feet away, man, it went away. So I'm like, what was that? So I get home and look at the picture I took. and I seen red eyes in there, man. So I blew it up, and it was a mama in there reaching down, cradling her baby. The baby had a blue face with red eyes. I think you've seen that picture before, and it looks like it was a newborn. She might have just had that baby, and I got too close.
Yeah.
She didn't want to hurt me or nothing, man. She just said, "Hey, Squatch, man, I just had a baby. Get out of here. I need some privacy." So she zapped the hell out of me, and I didn't know any. I forgot all about that. That cave. I just wanted to get out of the woods. So anyway, I seen that picture, man, and it was awesome. Yeah, that little blue baby with red eyes, with a mama. See her the outline of her head, the arch of her back, her arm, her shoulder. They're reaching down to cradle the baby, and the baby's like screaming. So yeah, I scared the shit out of them. So I deserved what I got. So okay, fast forward back to March. I find that baby print. So I'm like, so wait a minute, man. I seen that in July. So it's like the end of July. So I just counted August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. 8 months. So I'm like, I wonder if that was that baby in the cave. I wonder if it's up or walking, or do they walk before that? Usually a human baby walks around a year, some a little before, some well after. It all depends. So I was thinking maybe it was that baby I seen it. I got the picture of. I call it Cave Mama and Baby. I love it, man. I love all my pictures I got. So anyway, I'm sitting there casting them, and I'm thinking about, well, was that her brother walking her down the creek? Is that her friend? Yeah, just trying to piece the puzzle together. And I seen a brown figure, man. I'm down in a creek, and there's two ravines going up like that. I'm down at the bottom, and it flattened out up at the top. So over here to the left, I see something brown walking on the ridge line, all brown. So I said to myself, I go, well, why would a UPS man be out here? This was on a weekday in the winter. There wasn't nobody in the forest. I'm like, wait a minute, a UPS guy. So yeah, I mean, I was so intense in my thought process over this print. I wasn't even thinking right. So as I glanced up for, like, OMG, it was a female walking the ridge line, brown fur, a real shaggy kind. She was real tall, probably 8 feet. She had, like, I call it like the Shaquille body. Wasn't no big hunkering body like but the funny thing about it, I seen her breast. She had breast. Um, and she was just walking, wasn't paying attention to me, and I was just sitting there, man, in amazement. Going, oh my God, I can't believe this. And she walked about 9 steps. I've seen every step. Boom, boom, boom. You know how people say how they walk, their head's perfectly still, like they're gliding. Yeah, everything I heard about it, it was happening. And then she went over the ridge line. So I'm like, oh man. So I sit back down, processing what happened, looking at the prints. So I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, I get it now. She's probably up there sitting down up there watching me do the whole thing, wondering, what am I doing to her baby's footprints? So then she probably seen me pour them in there and what? And she goes, oh, he's casting them. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, watched me for a while and then got up and walked away. But yeah, she knew how good of a guy I was. And this is when the good stuff started happening around this period of my 20 years. Um, she let me see her. I mean, BS, no, nothing, no obstructions, no green leaves. I mean, just a nice. I can see it right now. I mean, I see it every day. All my encounters, I relive them almost every day. I cannot get them off my mind. And to see this, like I said, yeah, I don't know. I can't put it into words of what it did to me. But then I figured that, everybody says how elusive they are and they don't want you to see them. Well, I started going, again, scratching my head. Well, wait a minute. Well, how come I always see them? They ain't that damn elusive.
No.
And then I had other people, people that I looked up to that were telling me stuff like, you're the chosen one, and I'm this, and I'm that. And, oh, no, I don't want no part of none of that, man. But now I understand what they were saying. I am the chosen one, but not plural as in one, like Moses. Most chosen one. There's a chosen one in the name of Michael. There's a chosen Parker and Arla. I can keep continuing the list.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people just like me. So there ain't just one chosen people. It's very many chosen people.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I learned is it just ain't one person they want speaking the truth. They want multiple people. So the more I start to seeing stuff like that, a lot of people have similar stuff to what I have. Maybe not as intense. I don't know. So I mean, I don't know what they felt, what they soared, how their mindset was. You got to ask all them people. I just know how I feel when I see them.
Yeah.
I mean, I clam up. I mean, it's like, I mean, God's honest truth. I mean, it's like I freeze. And it seems like every time I do, it's the same thing, just like in the teepee, just like Curious George. I'm always just, oh my gee, this is really happening. I can't believe it.
It
But
feels supernatural.
Yeah, exactly. And and this could happen any given day, any given night.
Yeah.
Well, after this interview, I could go jump in my car and go off to the forest and sit down at a picnic table at my campsite, and I could see one out back there. Just like that. I don't know when I'm going to see one. I mean, somebody even said, well, you must see a Bigfoot behind every bush. No, I don't see a Bigfoot behind every bush. But I'm not going to sit here and apologize for what I do see because you don't see them. Just like I tell people about my fishing comparison. They'll say of me, Michael and Brian went fishing every Saturday. Every Saturday when we went fishing, we went out in Brian's boat. Every Saturday, Michael caught a whole stringer of fish. Every Saturday, Brian caught a whole stringer of fish. And every Saturday, Greg ain't got nothing. He didn't catch nothing, didn't even get a bite. We go back the next Saturday, same thing. Saturday after Saturday after Saturday after month after year, same thing every Saturday. Well, don't you think one of them Saturdays I'm going to have enough common sense to say, hey, y'all, hey, I'm going to try fishing like y'all do. I'm tired of not getting no action. I want to do it like you do it. And I want to catch fish.
Yeah.
That's how I look at squatching. You either do it right or you do it wrong. There ain't no in-betweens.
Yeah.
And And to do it right, you got to you got to pass the character test. You got to have the will, the open mind, the heart, the respect, the knowledge. You got to possess all these qualities to open that door. Your energy, everything we have discussed in this whole interview, it all comes together in a big ball. And the man himself, the woman yourself, it's up to you what kind of ball you got swirling around you. I know what kind of ball I got. I feel my energy. People feel my energy. I walk through airports, through grocery stores. People stop and stare at me. I mean, it's just like a phenomenon. It ain't because that I'm some freaky looking dude. They can sense my energy.
Yeah.
They can sense my power. Hey, I'm serious, guys. It's a God-given gift.
No, that's true. It's true. I know what you mean. People can feel people like you, whatever. Yeah, they could just like they'll look at you because they feel something that's not usual. That's not common. They feel, yeah. You're 100%.
Exactly. I'm a very uncommon, a different individual. All my life, if everybody's walking this way, I'm going to be walking this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like my dad said. Like I asked him, can I go roller skating tonight? No. Well, come on, everybody's going. Well, if everybody jumped off the cliff, would you? That was his focal point in making his point. And now that I look back at that, he's right. Don't always go with the crowd. Don't go with mainstream. Mainstream is never right. And very rarely they might be right, but not lately. So yeah, make up your own opinions.
Yeah.
Make up your own thoughts on the subject. Don't take my word for it, your word. Get out in the woods, man. Experience this. That's the best way to do it. And believe me, everything we talked about, if you possess this stuff and do it and talk to them and pray to them, it's no finding Bigfoot. Bigfoot will find you.
Yeah. And
right.
And the other thing is that you go into this thing looking for Bigfoot, but what you actually find is yourself.
Exactly.
There's that too. Yeah.
And believe me, he's out there waiting.
Yeah. He wants to tell you all about yourself and who you are. And when you're ready to listen, he'll let you know.
Yeah, I mean, when it's all said and done, they love good people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's wrap this up because our connection is really bad right now.
Hey, no problem, man. I gotta get some grub going anyway.
No, I do too. I'd like to go on for a little longer, but it's just that the connection is kind of cutting out, and I apologize to people for that. But we got most of it, and we caught the gist of what you're saying, and we really appreciate you coming, Greg.
Hey, well, I just want to say I had a good time today, and I really enjoyed talking to you and Michael. You are very intelligent men, like myself, man, and we had good discussion today. Yeah, we had a good verbal communication.
Yeah, and good energy communication.
Yeah, good energy. Couple good stories. And it was an honor me being on here, speaking the truth. And I hope everybody listening enjoyed it. And I appreciate you tuning into us.
Well,
and I will see you guys later.
Yeah, you don't cut any corners, and you just tell the truth because you respect them, just like I do. That's the way you have to go about it. So,
all people out there, just remember that if you want to be friends with Sasquatch, be willing to put in 4 or 5 years. There's no big deal. You're going to be friends for life, so it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And put
Good
in
point.
that time and you'll get results.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Greg. So on behalf
Thank
of
you.
Port Cunningham and
Hey, guess what I'm going to have for supper?
what?
Beanies and pork and weenies.
You're a cannibal.
Yeah, beanies and weenies, pork and beans.
You're a cannibal,
Yeah.
man. You're eating your friends and your people.
Nice. Have fun. Have fun.
On behalf of Port,
Hey, again, man, had a good time, guys.
That's
See you
campfire
later.
food, man. Dig a big can of pork and beans and put it in a pot. You guys sit around all night eating that.
There you go.
and hopefully you're sitting around by yourself. So on behalf of Port Cunningham and Frank Oliver Beans, this has been the Pork and Bean Show. Thanks to our special guest, Greg Yost. We're always happy to have you here, man.
Share. Shows you care.
See you guys.
Okay, bye, people.
Yeah.
Peace out.
And we're off.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get something to eat myself. Yeah, that was good.
It was real good.
Too bad we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but I think it was.
Only you had technical difficulties, and that was just fine.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, my friend. See you later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
I love you so, don't you know? I wanna bring old play. All the buttons coming down, taking my phone. Hot it high, hot it high, hot it high. For the tummy, oh my, love a big old plate of pork and beans. Goody. Love it. In the tummy. Love baby. Love hard. Love ooh. Love wide. I love me some pork and wings. Don't you know you gotta need that feed. You got to have some pork and beans. Pork and beans. I'm ready, I love Yo, mashed potato, oh, have it now, don't wait for later. Hot it high,